Sukkah Mem Dalam, Aleph 54. So we ended up that in Eretz Yisrael, in order not to make Yisrael agudos and two Toros, in Eretz Yisrael it's also not doiche Shabbos. Even though originally we said lulav should be doiche Shabbos because they know kviyah diarkasa, but because of a low plug, they also don't take the lulav on Shabbos in Eretz Yisrael. Elakasha anitarti. Well, what about the following brises? The Tanakh had a kolam olichim sulvim larabayis, right? Where they sit on Shabbos, they took their lulavs to arabayis. V'tanya l'beis hakneses. Umetartzinon. So we metar. It's kan bisman shebeis hamidrash kayim. Kan bisman shein beis hamidrash kayim. But if in Eretz Yisrael, we would have to come up with a different teretz if we say that in Eretz Yisrael they also didn't do it. So the Gemara says, "Lo, I divided bisman shebeis hamidrash kayim." The both prices were with Beis Hamikdash, like kasha kan b'mikdash kan b'gvulin. In the Beis Hamikdash, they did take it to the Beis Hamikdash. B'gvulin, they took it to the Beis HaKnesses. Armalei abayla rava ma'ishna lulav davdina leishiva zechel hamikdash. So how come we take the lulav all 7 days zechel hamikdash? U'ma'ishna rava davdina leishiva zechel hamikdash. But by a rava, we only do it 1 day, Hoshana Rabbah. Because you have an arava and a lulav as well. So in essence, your yod say the arava when you take the lulav. Amarlei, that's not mishum arava, only mishum lulav would have covered late. Maybe you pick it up twice, once for the lulav, once for the arava. But we see that people don't pick up the lulav twice. Armazvid mishmei rava lulav deraisa. Ili lulav is deraisa l'kachtem lachem b'yom harishon. Avdin and shiva zeichel hamikdash. So there we did a zeichers all 7 days. Arava, which is only drabanan, lo avdin and leishiva zeichel hamikdash. Now Laman, who holds Arava as drabanan? Yilei melab b'shol. Homer arvei nachol ksiv. Arvei is plural. Shtayim achas u'levachos l'mikdash. So he holds it's minat Torah. I Rabbanon hilchos gemir law. Nobody holds it's just a Rabbanon because Rabbanon also hold it's halacha Moshe B'Sinai. Dam Rav Asi Rav Yechim Mishum Rav Nechuni Yish because Pesachor and Esther Netias Arava Nisach Amam halacha Moshe B'Sinai. So you see, Arava is halacha Moshe B'Sinai, which is like a ke'ein daraisa. Amraz Reid Mishmei Rava lulav the Islay Ikim minat Torah. There's a mention mefurish of lulav in the Torah. So Begvulin. Outside Beis Hamikdash, Avdina leishiva zeichel hamikdash. We did a zeichel hamikdash all 7 days. Arava the Leslie Ikrim Torah. There is no mention of Arava in the Torah. It's all pure halacha Moshe Sinai. Begvulin lo Avdina leishiva zeichel hamikdash. Then we don't do all 7 days. Armeish Lakish Kohanim Bali Mumin. Nichtosim bein ha'ulam l'zbech kadei lotzis barava. Kohanim, even though they were Balmum, would go into the Beis Hamikdash. Between the ulam and Mizbeach, where normally they're not allowed to go because of their mum, because they would be makif the Mizbeach with their lulav. Amalei Rav Yochanan, mi amara. Who said this halacha? Afraid the Gemara, mi amara. What do you mean who said it? How you Amar? You Rav Yochanan said it. Dam Rav Asi Rav Yochanan, mishum Rav Nechuni Yish Pikas Beis Chorton. Esther Netias Arav Nisach Balach Moshe Ben Sinai. So you are the one who quotes that the Kohanim hold on to the Arava Bayom in their hands, because of Allah Moshe B'Sinai. Elamiyam Rabinatila. The question is, where do we see that there's a chiyuv to hold the Arava? Maybe Dilma B'Zakifa. Maybe all the Kohanim did was take the Arava and lean them against the Mizbeach. And maybe there's no Natila Arava. And Miyamar Bali Mumin, and not only that, who has said that Bali Mumin are allowed to? Maybe Dilma B'Tamimim. Maybe it has to be Kohanim that are not Bali Mumin. So Itma. Rav Yechon Rav Yeshua ben Levi, Chadam Arav Yisod Nevi'im. To classify what it is, it's called Yisod Nevi'im. And Chadam Minag Nevi'im. Another say it's a minig. So the Rishonim discuss if it's Yisod Nevi'im, and they heard it from the Nevi'im, maybe there would be it would need a bracha, like other brachas that the Chachamim in generations made takonas. Because we have to listen in the Torah, the Chachmei Adoros. And just like, for example, we make a bracha on Eru that Shlomo Melech did in the Tilas Yadayim, that would be the concept of Yisod Nevi'im. Minig Nevi'im would be that the Nevi'im would do it. That was their minig, to do it. But not that they made a takana for Klal Yisrael. And the people followed what the minig of the Nevi'im were. But it's not a formal takana in order to make a bracha. That's the way some learn what this analysis of whether it's Yisod Nevi'im or Minig Nevi'im. Either way, to Stein Rav Yechon Domer Yisod Nevi'im. I'm going to prove to you that Rav Yechon who says it's Yisod Nevi'im. Domer v'vam Rav Yechon Arava Yisod Nevi'im hu. Well, this time it's very clear that Rav Yechon says it's Yisod Nevi'im. Amar Rav Zera Rav Avomi Amar Rav Yechon Hachi. Did Rav Yechon even say this? Rav Yechon Mishum Rav Nechuni Yish Bikas Beis Chort and Esron Etias Arava V'Nisach Amar Malach L'Moshe Ben Sinai. It's not a Yisod Nevi'im, it's Allah Moshe Ben Sinai. So, Eshtomim Keshachada, he was quiet for a minute when he thought, it was Allah Moshe Ben Sinai, but they forgot it. The Nevi'im later on came and were meyased it. Freit Gemara Mi Omar Rav Yechon Hachi Rav Yechon the Lechon Amri, the Chachmei Bavel say it, the Lohoini, that it's their takona, not Yisod Nevi'im, and not Allah Moshe Ben Sinai. It's Minag Medivrei Chachamim. So one place Rav Yechon says it's Yisod Nevi'im, another place it says it's Minag Chachamim. Like Kasha, Kan B'Migdash was Allah Moshe Ben Sinai. Kan B'Gvulin was Yisod Nevi'im.
Why can't understand why can't we say that he can make a bracha on a ravas together with a lulav, just like we make a bracha on Pesach with a matzah. We take two. With the same matzah we make chilas moshe lechadoros and chilas matzah at the same time. So why can't he do the same thing according to Mandomer? It said it's halacha that we can make a bracha on the lulav at the same time with our ravas together.
That maybe by taking the lulav, you're makayim arava. But the Gemara said, number one, that when you do that, it's mishum lulav. That a lulav is not complete unless you have arba minim. So then Gemara said, well, maybe you pick it up twice. Once for lulav, once for arava. Gemara says, we say that we don't do that. So,
but he could.
They had a Havamina like that, but it was rejected.
But according to Mandomer,
halacha is you have to. There's the on Hoshana Rabbah we hold the arava by itself.
But we don't make a bracha.
We don't make a bracha because it's minag nevi'im. Because it's in this analysis of whether it's yisod or minag, we don't make a bracha on it.
We make a.
No,
we're machmer, so we don't make. So we otherwise it's a bracha of atola. If it's a minig, then it's a bracha of atola.
Well, no, the analysis of whether it's yisod or whether it's minig, yisod. If the nevi'im were meyaseh this as a takana for Klal Yisrael, we'd make a bracha for it.
We'd make a bracha
like the Erevin, like the Tilas Yadayim, like other things that nevi'im established, like bracha Megillah. Amravami, arava tzricha shir. Arava needs a shear, and he tells us if that's and to fulfill the mitzvah arava, you got to take it by itself, not with the lulav, because it's its own mitzvah. Vein adam yotzei dechavasa barava shebelulav. and you're not mekayim the mitzvah arava that with the arava that happens to be in your lulav. Well, once you told me that you have to take the lulav by itself, why did you have to repeat that? Because that may be because when you didn't pick up the lulav twice. But maybe you picked up the lulav twice, and the second time you picked it up, you had in mind arava, emalo. So kamash malon that even with two agbos, you're not yotzei. You have to take the arava by itself. And the Rambam says, mitzvah arava b'migdash, halachah b'nei Sinai, uvikvulin nitilosa minag neviim. That's why you don't make a bracha on it, not yisod neviim. And the Shulchan Aruch Orach Chaim Taf Reish Samech Dalet Halacha Hey Ein Arava Nitelas LeMitzvosa Ela B'Fnei Atzma. And Shulchan Aruch in the same sif says Ein Adam Yotzei Dovei Chavas Arava Arava Shebelulav Afilu Hikbi Belulav Pam Shniya L'Shem Mitzvah Arava. The Tur does say you're yotzei if you do it that way. Back to the Gemara. Arm of Yitzchak. Adam yotzei dechavasa barova shebelul b'yont of Rishon shel Chag. On the first day, you're yotzei the mitzvah of arava on the first day. V'kama shiura. What's a shir arava? Arm of Nachman shloisha badei alin lachim. 3 groups of leaves, moist. Even one group with one leaf. How could that be? One leaf in one of the stems that come off. We were in front of Rabbi Loser. Person brought an arav in front of him. He pounded it on the ground. He didn't make a bracha. So it's a minhag neviim. That's why he didn't make a bracha. Ivan Chizkiah bnei Barti Ravaisi, the Rav, Ivan Chizkiah, who were the sons of the daughter of Rav. I saw Rav al-Kamei the Rav brought an arav in front of Rav. Chavet v'loy birich. Kosover minhag neviim hu. And mevarach malatil sarava v'lo chavita. Not when you pound it either. V'nohag bin lachbot ba ad gabi karka. The din is you're supposed to hit it on the ground. And the al pi arizal nagu lachbot ba chamesh pamim al pnei karka. That's in the Shulchan Aruch. In Orach Chaim Taf Reish Samech Dal. Amar Aivu, have a kamina kamein to Rabbi Lazar Bar Tzadok. We were in front of Rabbi Lazar Bar Tzadok. Also, Kamei Gav. A person came. Amar like Kiryasa Isli, Karmai Isli, Zaysi Isli. I have villages. I have vineyards. I have olive trees. V'asu bnei Kiryasa Makashkashin Bekarma v'Ochlim B'Zaysi. And he was complaining about the children of the village who come into his vineyard during Shemitah. They eat from the olives. Is it appropriate? Arich or lo arich? Armalei loy arich. It's not appropriate. Havakashavik levaozil. Man left. Omar, kedu avisi dairi ba'ara hada arba'in shana. I've been here for 40 years. I never saw a person who went with so much tzidkis like this.
No, he didn't. He wasn't complaining. He said that he paid the workers because they owed the land. So he wanted to know if he could use that the money that they paid. They took the olives in lieu of the payment.
Yeah, Rashi says. You pay the workers meperosh shvius. But the Torah said, you can eat pear shvis to eat, but not for business. Avala kishkush mutter. Kishkush is, is work that's permitted. Oidrinas akromin b'shvius. They prune it. He wasn't mafkir to the aniyim. Is it good to do this or not good to do this? He said it was good. When then he came back. The man came back. So what should I do to be masake in the fact that they worked my vineyards? You should be mafkir the zaysim to poor people and give, right? And give money, and pay off the people who work the vineyards. What do you mean? How could you pay them? And why do you justify this? Doing kaskusi with this kind of pruning is not permitted in Shemitah. Tishmitenu, you should stop from him lakashkesh. When a tashtem lasake, you can't do any work. Two types of kushkush. One is to fill up cracks in the ground. One is to make the trees healthier. Fill up the cracks is permitted. The avrui ilni is prohibited. Avrui ilni aser. Stumepili shari. But filling up the cracks of the ground, you're not really doing anything to the plantings, just so that the trees won't die. That's permitted. Amar Ivan Mishra of Lazar Bar Tzadok. Person shouldn't travel too far on Erev Shabbos, more than 3 parsos. You want to make sure that he has food to eat. If he travels too much Erev Shabbos, he's not going to have a good Suda for Shabbos. That's if you're going home. But if he's going to like a hotel, he relies, he obviously had food with him that he's taking for his travels. And he's soymich on that because he's not going to sure if he's going to find food where he's traveling. He takes with him. So he doesn't have to worry in that situation. Some say that certainly a person, when he's going to a strange place, he's not going to know what he's going to eat. But even if he's going to his house, he shouldn't travel that way because he still may not find enough resources to make food even in his own house for Shabbos. In fact, it happened to me, and I couldn't even find little sardines. So you got to make sure that during the day, you prepare for Sudas Shabbos already in the middle of the day. He said that when they brought the lulav to the Beis Hamikdash, they arranged them on like the stage in the Beis Hamikdash. I mean, why did they have to put, or it's not the stage, the roof. The itztava is like the roof. Like, what are they going to dry it? What do you have to dry it out for? Underneath the roof. And it was a special place set out for the lulavim there. It was like columns within other columns.
Colonnade.
Like a colonnade, like a double colonnade. And therefore, there was a place there to put the lulavim. Okay. Tomorrow we'll learn the daf right before the Novi Shir at 7:30.
Okay.
Novi Shir at 8 o'clock.
Okay.